I want to read more. I love buying and hoarding books, but the books I acquire just sit there, gathering dust. Because Netflix is a thing and I am way too obsessed with British period dramas. And I used to be an avid reader as a kid. Like, I got through 20 to 30 books a year, and I would love to be able to do that again. I've also always loved watching YouTube videos about books. Like, John Green's book recommendations were honestly some of my favorite Vlogbrothers videos ever made. And I recently fell into the world of BookTube and have just fallen in love with the discussions and the community that happens around books and literature and reading. So I thought I'd give it a crack. So in light of this, welcome to Booking Forward to It. I am very proud of that pun. Shout out to my mum for helping me with that. Here I'll be documenting my reading journey and hopefully making myself more accountable to my reading goals. So to kick this off, I'm going to talk about my favorite books. Firstly, The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This book is about a young girl living in Nazi Germany in a small town with a foster family, and it just explores her friendships and her relationships with the books that she encounters, and it was a breathtaking book. I absolutely adored reading it. The narration in this book is absolutely amazing. It's witty and sardonic and like absolutely heartbreaking at times. It was so beautiful and you just cannot stop thinking about it after you put it down. And that's good because, as you can see, it's quite a chunky book, but I devoured every single chunk. I would treasure this book with me forever. Secondly, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I actually saw the Pemberley Digital vlog series, web series adaptation of this book before I read it, and I really enjoyed that. It was called Frankenstein MD, and it was like done by the same people who did the Lizzie Bennet Diaries and Emma Approved and all those really cool projects. I actually have a really bad habit of watching literary web series on YouTube instead of actually reading books, but I'm working on that. I actually had to read this for my year 12 literature class and I absolutely fell in love with it. Changed my life really, and I just became more amazed by it the more we analysed it and the more we studied it. Absolutely beautifully written. Mary Shelley was truly a visionary of her time. She was an absolute genius. It's really haunting and frightening and disturbing at times, quite page-turning. It was a pleasure to read, and so another one of my favorite books. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I could not do a video about my favorite books without talking about Harry Potter, and this has to be my favorite novel in the series. And I think that's quite a popular opinion. Like, everyone I've spoken to have loved this book. It's really not that hard to see why. J.K. Rowling really outdid herself with the plot and the characters. And of course, Remus Lupin is introduced in this novel, and he is by far the best marauder, if not the best character, a delightful character, and so that's why another reason I love this book. Every time I reread this book, it brings back childhood memories of reading under the covers of my bed, like way past midnight, just not being able to put it down because I was just so eager to know what happened next. Finally, I'd like to talk about The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I'm probably butchering his name, I apologize. This book is probably the only book that made me weep repeatedly. Oh, it was absolutely gut-wrenching. The Kite Runner is about two boys who are childhood friends growing up in Kabul, Afghanistan, and it just kind of tracks their journey and their friendship throughout all the conflicts that happen to that country. And it's definitely one of the most confronting books I've ever read. I think I read this when I was about 15, and it like absolutely shook me. But it was such a touching story. I also have been meaning to read his second book, so that is definitely on my reading list. So if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Right now I'm currently reading John Green's Turtles All the Way Down, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Hopefully I'll be sharing my thoughts on this book very soon on this channel. That is the whole point of why I'm doing this after all. Other books that I've started throughout the year and have kind of just left unfinished are White Man Falling by Mike Stocks and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Hopefully I will finish these over the summer. Thank you so much for watching so far. Stay tuned for more.